A tidal wave of momentum, soul alignment, and new earth energies finally here. Hey, you guys, it's Alysa Rushton with your May 2025 energy update. And I'm so excited about the month of May and these energies that we're going to be having to work with this month of May. Now, if this is your first time here, I want to welcome you and say thank you for being a part of this growing community of awakened energy healers and light leaders and incredible spiritual beings like yourself who are committed to really bringing forward this new earth energy. And if you always come by for these videos, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Regardless, I'd love to hear from you. I actually do this work for you because of you. So it really is amazing for me when I get to hear from you. I read every single one of the comments myself and I respond personally. So it's just wonderful to hear what's going on for you. So be sure along the way of this video to drop your comments below. Let me know what resonates with you. And like all the videos, go ahead right now, close your eyes and pick a number between 1 and 5, and maybe you pick a couple numbers for the energy that is most resonant for you this month. Take a minute, pick a number or maybe a couple numbers between 1 and 5 and pop them down below so I can see too. It's so much fun for me. All right. So let's talk about the first energy for May, which is stalled projects equals soul acceleration. So for the past few months, you may have really felt like a lot of things were stalled out. You may have even had some projects in progress, but it just wasn't ready to go no matter what you did. And so in May, what's really incredible about this is that it gave everything a chance to rejig itself because we are having a ton of new earth frequencies. So now those projects are actually reconfigured and they're ready to go in the new earth energy and in your new frequency. So this is going to lead to your total soul alignment because we needed that moment to rejig ourselves. So if you've been having kind of a rough go the last few months, just know that everything's been reworking itself. And now you're ready to get that blast of creativity, get that blast of new momentum. Now might be the time to just really lean into your soul alignment. Something that I do with a lot of my groups that I run, especially my business groups, is I ask them, what are your non-negotiables for this new soul aligned version of you that you're being? And so a great action to do this month, a new earth action, is to ask yourself, what are my complete commitments as this new version of myself? What are the things that are my non-negotiables that no matter what happens, no matter what kind of challenges happen, I'm going to actually double down on being soul aligned. I'm going to double down on this project or program that I'm putting out into the world. Because right now, there's a lot of other energy out there. And what's happening on the big macrocosm level and on the microcosm level is this. We are moving into a new earth energy, which means you are moving into a new earth energy. You are moving into soul alignment and the planet is moving into soul alignment. But on the other side of those things, the old version of you, the old version of Earth is going to crumble. And whenever we're reconfiguring our identity, those old versions want to act out a little bit. Those old versions want to bring up old stories and tell you all the reasons why you can't have this new version of you. So it's happening at the micro level and the macro level. So you're seeing this happen in society. You might be seeing this happen in your life in multiple ways. Those things that are stalled and possibly even crumbling down are being reconfigured into the new. And so you want to think about, who do you need to become in order for total soul alignment to happen? Many of you are looking to move locations. You actually know that the location you live is not conducive to your soul, at least part-time of the year. So you might be looking at a different housing situation or maybe a shared home situation where you can live in your area part-time and then get out of there. We're looking at a lot of soul-led reconfiguration, but this is happening on a massive global scale. and on a microcosm scale in your own life. So here's the new earth action. Just to be really clear, you can write down what are my non negotiables. Maybe for you, living in an area that's tropical and lush and allows you to get outside, or maybe it's really nature based, is a non negotiable for you. Maybe it's non negotiable for you now to not sit behind the computer for 7 hours a day. So, really take a look at those things in the categories of your soul, your physical health, your spiritual health, your business health, your financial health. What are those soul non negotiables, those soul aligned things that you're going to do? You will be rewarded for doing this because this month we've got Saturn coming in. And Saturn, I'm not an astrologer, but Saturn does love rules and regulations. Saturn loves structure. So, how do we build something for the long haul? We give it structure, we give it a solid foundation. So, think of May as the time where you're creating the foundations of solid structure literally for the next 17 years and beyond. So take time this month to think about the vision of the future of your life. What are the things that you're going to need? How can you plan? And really, how can you lean into this total soul aligned way of living? Some of the things that I personally do to be soul aligned is even down to what I call my Wi-Fi. I have a soul aligned name for my Wi-Fi. I have a soul aligned name for my passwords. I have soul aligned playlists in my iPhone. I have soul aligned crystals. Literally, when you walk into my house, people take a deep breath and a sigh of relief because when you walk in, it's soul aligned with frequency. So be asking yourself, how can you soul align and how can you do more and more of that every single day and be truly non negotiable about it? Let's talk about energy number 2, new earth consciousness and innovation. So, you're going to start to see a lot of new earth consciousness come online. You are probably getting downloads, visions, insights, guidance about what New Earth is going to look like. And we're going to have a lot of innovations being able to take place. On the flip side of that, the old structures are truly starting to crumble. This is not going to be the easiest thing. I do want to say you will see a lot of stuff that just doesn't work start to go. You're going to see it in retail. You will see it in housing. You will see it in financial markets and you'll see it in ways of living. The earth is really moving and shaking. I got a huge download this last week about all of this new earth energy that's coming. And literally, it was so beautiful. And the earth looked different. There were really incredible places of abundance and sort of like these mansion houses. But it wasn't about the structures, it was really about the frequency that we're all living in and understanding that you create your reality and your consciousness creates reality and your collective consciousness is creating the reality. And at the same time, all of these old structures are breaking down. And it's time for that. You're part of this global reconfiguration. And some of those things can feel a little traumatic at times. So, the number one thing that you can remember here with this energy of innovation and new earth consciousness is your consciousness is creating reality. The more you can hold the fifth dimensional present moment consciousness and keep your sight on that which you choose to create, that which you'd like to take place, the more that gets to be created. Right now, some of these old structures are literally pumping out news stories daily to keep people stuck in this crumble and freak them out. And your role here really is to point your consciousness in a different direction, to keep your sights on that which you would love to bring in. We have been through this moment in time before on our planet. It was called Lemuria and Atlantis. And in these times, in ancient Lemuria and ancient Atlantis, those societies did end up crumbling. And we actually have the opportunity to not do that again. If you've been following me for a while, you have heard me say that this is your healing lifetime. This is actually the one lifetime that you personally came here to say, you know what? No more. We don't have to, drive this thing into the ground. We don't have to end in the huge tragedy. And I'm already seeing these timelines up a lift. A couple years ago, I was really seeing super gnarly timelines. And because of you, your energy, that which you've been energizing, it's actually a lot softer. It's a lot more gentle. So, this is your wink from the universe and me to say that what you choose to point your consciousness to now really does matter. I also want to invite you to form new earth networks. Start to gather people in your community who are committed to a different way of living, a soul led life versus an ego led life and a things based life. Find those people, seek them out, start forming groups, start forming collaborations, associations where you can start to set the energetics for that which you want to create. Remember, how do you best get an outcome? You triangulate it in quantum physics. You've got one or more people focused on the same thing. And when you do that, guess what? You really triangulate the superposition of that outcome. This is physics, guys. So they're trying to triangulate a gnarly outcome so that the powers that be can keep people stuck and small and not in their power and inserting chips into their bodies and really regulated by technology. And we do not have to go that route. In fact, I would argue that that's not going to happen because of you. You're going to superposition. Now, you know how to use your consciousness, and you are going to form those communities where we are energizing and enlivening something really different here on the planet. So here's your new earth action. By the way, this is something new. I haven't done this before. So here's your new earth action. Take a look at your life and ask, what needs to shift for me to be in total soul living alignment? What things do I actually need to shift up and change for me to be in soul led alignment, planetary alignment, earth based alignment, spiritual alignment? What are those things? How does your life look differently? Are you wearing conscious fabrics? Are you working with conscious brands? Are you infusing your home with different things? Are you saying no to eating in certain places? The more you pull your energy from the old and put your energy towards the new, the more you bring in that beautiful new earth consciousness. Let's talk about energy number 3, personal responsibility and sovereignty. So, when I was on the other side with my near death experience, what I saw was that we are all one being and that we fractionate ourselves and come down here and experience our one beingness from billions and billions and billions of sides. Okay. And that said, there's something so powerful from taking personal responsibility for everything that you see in your world. Just play with me for a minute. If it's true that the whole world is you pushed out, it's literally the galaxy of you pushed out, then everything you see in your world that you like and that you don't like is also you pushed out. When we start to take personal responsibility for that, our reality changes. Your reality is a lot like the YouTube algorithm. What you click on, like, and subscribe to, you will see more of. So your personal reality is giving you more of what you're clicking on, liking, and subscribing to. You basically live in a big simulation that's designed for you to experience yourself as divine in physical form and understand that you are creating all of this. So take a look this next week, what you're clicking on, liking, subscribing in your personal reality. Is your focus based on they did this and they did that to me and this happened to me? Or is it focused on what you want to create? Is it focused on the just loving life and being so freaking grateful and thankful for this earth-based experience? Something that I hear from a lot of starseeds and intuitives is that earth is really hard and they don't feel at home. And one of the reasons for that is that all of your soul's not actually in your body. When your full soul, when your full light is in your body, you will feel so blessed to be here. You will understand how absolutely brilliant Earth School is and how yummy it is to experience things in this way. So, an action that you can take here is really taking personal responsibility for everything that you see in your world. And when you don't like something, you alchemize it. The thing about being a divine creator in physical form is you are learning here on a very slow playing field how to become an alchemist, how to shift and play with energy, how to transform energy. Just like if you were really cold and had an ice cube and you wanted to get it hotter and be warm, you would apply heat. Okay. So you wouldn't just sit around and complain how cold it is. You would put on a jacket or you would melt the ice cube with the sun or a flame. So you're here to learn how to become a divine alchemist. So how do we do that? We take personal responsibility for everything we're seeing in our world because it is our consciousness pushed out. We're developing a personal sovereignty bubble, which means that you actually get to decide what you choose to experience in your reality. You get to decide how you choose to experience it. You get to decide what you don't participate in and what you're saying yes to. One of the things that I frequently see is that people on this planet will just go along with what they're told to do. And you get to choose. You get to choose whether you want to do something. I will also tell you what is coming down the line. It looks to be it's a sliding time scale, but it looks to be in the next decade is a choice to integrate technology into your system, into your nervous system. And so you're going to have a choice point for that. And my hope is that enough of that old world will crumble in the meantime that it won't be as big of a deal. But remember, your choices matter and what you're choosing to put your energy into right now matters. So vision the version of future that you want. Vision the version of future where we are in our divine sovereignty and everybody remembers that yes, we are divine creators in physical form. And yes, reality is not as solid as we've been told, and that we can really mold it and work with it, especially when we're working with it in the highest good for all. So, your new earth action is to really show up in your daily life as the architect of the new earth. What would that look like if all of a sudden you said, I'm the architect of the new earth and I am going to decide on things that we would want to put in place in the new earth? How would your life look like if you were really showing up in that role? Take some time to journal about that. Think about it, because how we change what's happening on our planet is we literally have to do things differently. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So we have to start showing up as the architect of the new earth. And that's how it's always been done. You know, when America was formed, our founding fathers came in and said, hey, this is what we're building. Now, whether you agree with what was built or not, politics aside, they had a very intentional thing that they were building. I'm going to submit to you right now that we are in that same place where we've got to have a very intentional thing that we're building with the new earth, and that we set the wheels in motion. We set the energetics in motion and we start forming communities and collaborating on how we can do that. So ask yourself today, how can you show up and be the architect of the new earth? Another energy that's happening for May is unity through communication. So you'll likely get some opportunities this month to experience some communication or something that's going to spark you to communicate your true needs. The thing that has happened in the past is that many of us have not spoken up for our true needs. We've gone along with how we think things should be, or maybe been scared of what the other person's going to say, and so don't communicate our full truth. This month, you're likely have already had or are going to have chances to show up and speak your full truth, and to do it in a way that is also honoring of the other person's truth. Because what we want to remember is this. Let's say that you have a situation and one person is viewing the situation from this side. They're going to say, that phone is very sparkly. But the other person's flip side is seeing it totally differently. And what happens is people think, my side's right. I'm seeing it this way. It's a black screen. Well, now it's not, but they're seeing that screen and they're like, no, it's a screen. And this person says, no, it's sparkly. This is what I experienced. It's sparkly. And this other person says, no, I experienced the black screen. So, what we want to remember in divine communication, that's why I wear these coins, is that there's always three sides to every story. There's this side, the other side, and the actual allness of it. So when you're having these communication challenges, there's a little formula that you can use to honor the other person's communication and create unity. Because what's been happening in the past is a dynamic that is really gnarly. It's very difficult and it's, I'm right, you're wrong. Let me tell you all the reasons why I'm right about this. And a very defensive, clashy communication. So instead, when you have the communication opportunity and someone shares with you or you want to share with somebody what's been going on for you. So there's a little formula that you can do when you're in these conversations where there's been conflict that's present. And the formula starts like this. So let's say that you're in a conflict and someone comes to you and they share something that's been upsetting to them. Step number one is validate their feelings. Simply just validate them. Gosh, that sounds really hard. That feels really hard. I'm so sorry. So you're validating them. Step number two is asking them, well, can you tell me more? Can you tell me more about how you're feeling? This is really powerful because you're going curious instead of becoming defensive. If you practice those two steps with your partner, your person, your coworker, your child, you will notice your communication drastically changes and you will start to create a sense of unity and oneness with them already, even if you don't go any further. The next step is to get even more curious. Well, can you tell me even more about that? Will you say more? And they're going to let you know even more. And then once you're done with that, judging where the conversation is, you're going to do one of two things. So you might say, well, what do you need from me in order to move forward or repair? And then you want to ask them, would you be willing to hear my perspective and ask me curious questions? And that's the real opener. Because what has happened in communication in the past is it's usually very a one-sided thing and it's involves some defensiveness. And this framework allows for both people to be seen and heard and felt. It allows for both sides of the experience to be honored. And so then once you both can share your side of the experience and be held in that, then you can work together and say, well, what do we need to repair? What do we need to shift going forward? When you use this type of communication sequence, and hopefully you took some notes and wrote this down and want to share it with your partner, your person, or your kiddos, this is the way we communicate in New Earth. We don't get defensive. We don't act out. We don't start judging the other person. We don't get janky in our energy system. We literally allow for the understanding that there are two perspectives. There's even a third and a fourth and a fifth perspective if it was being seen by multiple people. So if you're having a family conflict, you would literally go around and view all of the perspectives. This is a very ancient tradition. It was used in the Lemurian times. And so it's something that you can bring forward, these ancient technologies that are actually also technologies of our future. When you do this, when you start to communicate and share differently in your communities, in your family, with your significant others, you will notice a unity. You'll notice a strengthening of bonds instead of a breaking of bonds. You'll notice that you do not build up resentment because things have not been voiced. Instead, you'll notice a deepening of your connection and your commitment to one another. And your new earth action is really to speak and listen in the frequency of love, curiosity, and peace. That is the new earth way. And it's not the easiest to do, especially when somebody's got a different perspective than you and they're committed to not seeing yours. So we're going to shift this dynamic, and you are here to shift the dynamic of this one on the planet right now. Energy number 5, May is a sacred chrysalis. We talked about this already. The old earth is crumbling. It is cracking. But here's the thing. Your light is what is breaking through. Your butterfly wings are coming out of this chrysalis, and literally you've been building your crystalline body. Your nervous system has been upgrading. You've been learning all sorts of new skills about communicating and your attachment styles and your trauma. You've done so much work. So now you're holding more light in your body, in your energetic body. And this light is literally the scaffolding and the foundation of the new earth. So remember this month as you're going forward. Ask yourself the question, how can I hold more light? How can I share more light? How can I allow others to be seen in more light? How can I just radiate this? Remember that people entrain to you and you entrain to them. So, really, the goal is to amplify your frequency, your light, and your energy. We just got done with a light leaders retreat in Sedona. It sold out in 4 days. But what happened is these light leaders came together and they expanded their light even more. And they worked on embodying the light for the world they came here to build. Make no mistake, if you're watching this video, you came here to build a new earth. You came here to be a part of the process. You came here to help people entrain to your energy versus entrain to the old energy. That requires being different. It requires you to keep your mind focused. It requires you to not go into fear programs. There's a different requirement for what it means to be in the new earth frequency. That new earth frequency is heart based. It is not mind based. We've been living in the mind for too long, but we're shifting it. We're putting our heart up there and we're making the longest journey of 18 inches down to our heart that humanity's ever made. And we're bridging the gap so that our hearts actually and our souls are running the planet versus our ego minds. And we're finally getting that. And you are a beautiful example of that. And the more you go and be in that frequency and be in the present moment, you be in that 5D new earth frequency, you will experience magic and miracles, and you will help the others around you entrain to this new program. That's really the work. You're going to see over the next 18 months that information is something that anyone can get. You can get all the information of the universe through AI. But what you can't get through AI is a frequency. You can't get the frequency of love. You are that. That is why you're here. You're here to amplify the frequency of the heart. You're here to amplify the frequency of the new earth. You're here to amplify the frequency of love. And May is your sacred chrysalis to crack open out of that chrysalis and fully spread your wings and fly. So I'd love to hear from you. What was the most important thing you heard today? Pop a comment below. Let me know. Please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. It helps me so much and it helps build the new earth. I love you guys so much and I'll see you in the next one.